Sagittarius, what if I told you something is about to happen to you that has never happened to anyone else before? Would you believe it? What if I told you there is a place where God is waiting for you, not to judge you, but to offer you something no one has ever been offered? Would you be ready to step forward? Maybe you don't remember clearly, but your soul has known this for a long time. A sleepless night that seemed ordinary, but you heard a whisper that didn't belong to this world. A passing glance, a gentle breeze, and you just knew something is coming. A prayer you whispered when there was no one left, but suddenly, something in the room shifted. Have you noticed that the recent events in your life haven't come to punish, but to prepare? To open a doorway, one you never thought you were worthy of stepping into. But God doesn't call those who are already ready. He only calls those who are willing. And if you're still here, if you're still listening to these words, it's because you have been chosen. And now I'm going to tell you why. Why it feels like everything in your life is shifting. Why it feels like you're standing between the ruins of an old world and the first breath of a new one. This is not a prediction. This is an invitation from the universe, from the Creator, from the highest part of your soul, the part you've long forgotten, but that never disappeared. And if what I'm about to share makes your heart tremble, brings tears to your eyes, or awakens a memory you thought had faded, then please leave a quiet whisper in the comments. I am ready for what has never happened before. Because when you write those words, you're not just affirming it for yourself. You're sending a signal back to the universe that you're standing exactly where your soul was designed to be. And if any part of this feels meaningful, please leave a like or share this video with someone you believe is also quietly walking their own path. Because light, once shared, always finds its way back to the one who first lit it. Sagittarius, you have been seen. You have been called. And today, you will understand why. There are moments in life that you can't name. You can only feel them through the rhythm of your heart. You only hear them in the silences, when all the outside noise fades and only the echo from your soul remains. To others, these moments might feel like vague anxiety, a dream that wakes them in the night and won't let them fall back asleep. That strange sense of being lifted out of their body while doing something completely ordinary. Like cooking, like driving, like standing in church and suddenly feeling someone watching from behind, even when no one's there. But for you, a Sagittarius, it's clearer than that. It's not strange. It's not new. It's just growing louder, faster, closer. So close now, you can no longer ignore it. Jupiter, your ruling planet, is slowly moving through a deep water sign. It could be Cancer, where family memories rise again. Or Pisces, where the boundaries between reality and the spirit world dissolve into one another. Whichever it is, you are feeling something you've never felt before. A vibration that, in the past, you only sensed when traveling far from home, but now it is happening right inside your body. And no, it's not an illusion. It is the awakening call of destiny. Not everyone is awakened by the voice of heaven. Some go through their whole life and never hear it. But you are different. Because Sagittarius is the sign of pioneer souls, the ones chosen to go ahead, to open the way, to touch what the rest of the world still fears. You've always sensed things before they happened. Bad news hadn't reached your ears, but your spine already felt the chill. A door was about to close, but you'd already heard the lock turn in a dream the night before. Someone intended to betray you, but you had long since stopped meeting their eyes. Not because you're paranoid, but because your soul is deeply familiar with the subtle frequencies of the universe. You are not wrong for feeling like the entire world is shifting inside you before anything changes on the outside. You are not weak for being overtaken by emotion. On the contrary, it's a sign that you're entering a higher field of empathy, where spirituality, intuition, and belief are no longer concepts, but direction. Where decisions no longer come from logic, but from feeling. Where you can't explain how you know, but you know. Maybe people have told you you're too sensitive, too vague, too trusting in things that can't be seen. But let me tell you this. The world has never been changed by the practical. It's been changed by those who dare to believe in what has never existed. By people like you, Sagittarians who carry within them the fusion of human and soul, of logic and miracle. If you felt strange lately, you're right. If you feel like the things that used to bring you joy no longer fit, you're right. If you feel like you're still in an old place, in an old skin, but your soul is knocking on a door somewhere far away, then you are absolutely right. Because destiny is drawing near, and it doesn't arrive with trumpets. It arrives in the small changes no one notices, except you. I know. Maybe you're tired, deeply tired. Tired because you can't name what you're feeling. Tired because no one around you understands what you're going through. Tired because you've been living two parallel lives. One normal, with work, bills, responsibilities, and another silent one in your mind, where you're facing a storm of the soul. But it is those very things that prove you are being called. You've tuned into the frequency of the chosen. You don't need anyone to validate that. No certificate, no title, just your knowing and your honesty with yourself. Your soul doesn't lie to you. It never has. Don't ignore the intuitions. Don't extinguish the feelings. Don't let anyone make you believe that being too emotional is a flaw, because truth always arrives in the soul before it reaches the world. Maybe what you're feeling right now is the very first bell of a shift, unlike anything you've ever known. A sacred mission is approaching. A divine doorway is opening, but only for those willing to hear the whisper from within. And if you have ever, even just once, felt your soul predicting the future, felt like you knew who was coming or who was about to leave, then please share that moment in the comments, because it might not have been just a memory. It might be the proof that you were always the chosen one. And now you're entering the most important stage of your spiritual life. The fact that you're here listening to this right now is no accident. You've been prepared for this moment through years of learning, enduring, being silent, and losing. And now you stand at the final edge, right before stepping into a new chapter, a higher frequency, a position no one has ever stood in before you. And that's not something to fear. It is something sacred. Remember, you were not born to live an ordinary life. You were born to unlock what has never been opened. And to do that, you must remember the greatest gift you've ever had, even if you've forgotten it for a while. The sacred talent of a Sagittarius, the one who sees farther than others, feels earlier than others, and was always chosen to lead the way. And perhaps you still remember that fateful day, the one day you were prepared for, didn't expect. But everything in your life changed. An unexpected phone call, a farewell letter, a door closed without explanation, a love dissolved in a single morning, a job you had held for years suddenly said goodbye. You sat there, unable to understand what had just happened. It felt like the universe swept you off the stable ground you thought you had. But if you pause long enough to observe, you'll see. It wasn't an ending. It was a signal. An invisible hand from the heavens had touched your life and pushed you out of a space that no longer fit you. I believe, and I know, that every major turning point in life is a message in disguise. God rarely sends letters or warning signs marked in bold. He sends wind to push your boat out to sea. He closes a door so you have no choice but to turn toward another path. He takes away what you cling to, only to offer you something you never dared to dream of. And if you're a Sagittarius, then you understand that feeling better than anyone. Because your life has always been a series of destined leaps. Every time you thought you had fallen into the abyss, a doorway of light appeared. Every time you thought you'd lost it all, an impossible opportunity found you. The midpoint between the North and South Node, what astrologers call the axis of fate, when it touches Sagittarius, it often triggers a cycle of karmic convergence. And you know that never comes gently. It does not arrive like a lullaby. It comes like thunder, to wake you up from what was soft but misaligned. I once knew a Sagittarius woman. She was a school teacher, living a stable life with her small family, a strict routine, a quiet home. Until one day, in just 24 hours, she lost her job, her partner walked away, and her house was taken due to an old debt suddenly reactivated under her late father's name. One single day, and she was emptied of every place she once held on to. But then, the very next morning, as she opened her laptop just to clear her inbox, she saw a strange email. It was from a global humanitarian organization, inviting her to West Africa to teach children who had no schools, no money, no title. But strangely, her heart lit up. For the first time in years, she breathed as if she had just been born again. She told me, "I lost everything, but I found my soul." You see, heaven doesn't reward us on sunny days. God sends messages through the heaviest storms. When you lose everything, that is when you begin to see what truly matters. When you are thrown out of your safe space, that is when you have a chance to step into the light. You don't need to understand it all. You only need to keep your heart open enough to receive. If lately you've lost something too quickly, an opportunity, a loved one, a relationship, a part of your identity, don't be too quick to call it a punishment. Maybe it was a sacred intersection, a moment designed to push you back into alignment. Write it down if this speaks to your soul. I am listening to signs from heaven. Because when you realize that what's happening isn't to destroy you, but to redirect you, to entrust you with something greater, you will stop feeling like a victim. You will begin to remember, you are the chosen one. Sagittarius, you were not born to cling to safety. You were born to blaze new trails, to cross unseen boundaries, and to go beyond every limit ever drawn. And every time something is taken from you, it is because something is being entrusted to you. Every time you fall, you are being lifted by a force you cannot see, but that loves you deeply. And if you look closely, you'll notice something. The major turning points in your life have never arrived by accident. They came precisely at the moment you stopped believing, stopped opening, stopped listening to your soul. And after those soul quakes, you woke up and realized there is something bigger, something sacred, waiting for you just beyond the veil. So if right now you're going through a nameless storm, please don't panic. You're not losing control. You're being redirected. You're not being punished. You're being trained. You are not being abandoned. You are being called. And if you've listened this far, then I believe what you're about to walk into is not just a new path. It is a mission, a role you've carried in your spirit since a previous lifetime, but only now has it come time to awaken. Are you ready? Because just beyond the chaos, your true gifts will begin to rise. No longer hidden, no longer buried, no longer doubted. We will continue soon to speak of the gift that God placed in your heart back when you were still a soul choosing the day of your birth. A gift only Sagittarius was strong enough to carry, through storms, through fire, even when no one else believed in you. And that will be the moment you remember. You are the one who carries the bow. And it is time for that bow to draw back and release towards something the world has never seen. You know, one of the most sacred moments in life is when you realize what once broke you holds the greatest gift you were meant to bring into this world. And if you are Sagittarius, this truth is more deeply yours than anyone else's. Because you are not just a human, you are half divine. You are the bridge between earth and the heavens. You are the only one in the Zodiac who holds both worlds within, a limited human body and a soul that cannot be contained. So you don't live like others, you don't love like them, you don't learn like them, and you don't fall like them. Every time you are wounded, the universe carves into you a secret map. A map no one can see, but you can feel it. And only you can read it. When the asteroid Chiron, the symbol of the soul's deepest wound, forms a trine with Sagittarius, a gate opens. No noise, no fanfare. But strong and clear enough that if you are sensitive, you will feel it. What once made you want to give up is now turning into a gentle light that surrounds you. A person who once felt abandoned becomes the one who embraces forgotten souls. A person who once lost everything learns how to comfort others facing new beginnings. A person who once was rejected becomes the first to offer chances to those weaker than themselves. Do you see it now? Everything you have endured was not to make you smaller. It was to make you a shelter, a small but steady flame in the night of someone else's life. And I believe, if you've ever asked why you had to go through so much, here is your answer. God does not give heavy trials to weak spirits. He only chooses those who can turn their trials into lanterns for others. And you, Sagittarius, you are one of the very few who were chosen. But sometimes, in your devotion to healing others, you forget that you too deserve to be held. You give without calculation. You listen without judgment. You sacrifice without asking for anything in return. Your gift is not in how much you know or how well you speak. It lies in something deeper. You inspire simply by being present. by walking into a room and holding space for others to simply be themselves. Perhaps that gift was once denied. Perhaps someone once told you, you dream too much, you're too idealistic, you're not realistic enough. But you know something? The world doesn't need more realism. It needs those who dare to imagine something better. And you are one of those brave souls who dare to imagine. Pause for a moment, breathe, and ask yourself, what gift within me was once silenced, once forgotten, but now longs to come alive again? Write it down if your heart is ready. Share it if your pulse quickens while hearing this. Leave a soft whisper in the comments below. My gift is returning. Because maybe those simple words are the key to unlocking a door you once thought had closed forever. You don't have to teach hundreds of people. If even one person chooses to keep going because of your light, then your mission is fulfilled. You don't need to become someone extraordinary. Just become yourself, in the version that is not muted, not questioned, not erased, and that alone is already extraordinary. Remember this: every Sagittarius carries a bow, and no arrow is ever released without the tension of the draw. You are being pulled back because you are meant to fly farther. You are being pressed down because you are about to rise. And if you're right in that moment where everything feels tight, silent, on edge, then maybe you are in the final second before the light bursts open. And no, you won't fly alone. There is always a sacred hand holding behind you. There is always a star guiding your path. There is always a promise you signed before you were born, that you would not leave this world until your gift was used for its true purpose. You've carried that light long enough. Now it's time to give it to the world. And when you do, you won't feel like you're trying anymore. You'll feel like you're coming home. Coming up next, we will speak of what happens when you no longer look back, when you walk forward with the steady strength of the light within you. When you finally understand that you are not just a human searching for direction, but a soul divinely guided from above. There was a time you believed you could turn back, that if life got too hard, too full of scars, too thick with doubt, you could simply step back, close your heart again, and return to the life you once knew, quiet, safe, untouched by too much depth, too much feeling. But here's the truth you can no longer outrun. Once you have seen the light, you cannot pretend you haven't. Once you've heard the call, you cannot pretend you didn't hear it. And once you've been chosen, you can never again be who you used to be. Not because you've been changed, but because your soul has touched a higher version of itself. And from that level, if you try to go back, you'll feel more lost than ever before. I once believed that choosing the light meant choosing an easier path. But no, the light is not a smooth road. It is a covenant. And it is a covenant that cannot be revoked. A sacred agreement that you, in the quietest moment of your soul, once whispered to the universe. I agree to carry this light, even if it makes me different, even if it causes me to be misunderstood, even if I have to lose everything I once thought was everything. And when you do that, you cannot turn back. When Lilith, the symbol of primordial darkness, of wild instincts and unilluminated truths, casts its shadow on Sagittarius, a test arrives. Not a test of right or wrong, but a test of faith, of choice. Will you choose the light or retreat? Will you rise or return to the comfort of the old? Do not rush to blame yourself if you feel tired, confused, uncertain about everything. Don't mistake your bewilderment for failure. On the contrary, if you feel lost, it may be because you are standing at the curve of destiny, where the ego dissolves and the sacred self begins to form anew. You are not on the wrong path. You are being reshaped, profoundly, quietly, in ways no one else could understand but you. I know, moving forward is not easy. I know some days you just want to walk away from it all. Live a quiet life, be unknown, carry no light, carry no weight of symbolism. But if you're hearing this, then perhaps your soul no longer has that option. Because once you are marked by the light, even if you hide in the shadows, the light will find you. The chosen one is not the strongest, but the one who does not surrender, even knowing the road ahead is hard. The one who keeps walking, even without applause. The one who still speaks truth, even when the voice trembles. The one who still opens their heart, even after it's been shattered many times. And if you are a Sagittarius, you understand this. because this is how you've lived your entire life. You were the most hopeful person in a room full of despair. You were the only one who still believed there was hope when everyone else had walked away. You were the one who carried the fire of truth, even when someone tried to smother it. That is your light. That is why you were chosen, and that is why you cannot turn back. Perhaps someone once told you you were too idealistic, that you lived out of touch with reality, that you chased things that were impossible. But I tell you this, the world does not need more realists. It needs those who dare to hold on to hope, even in ruins. It needs those who dare to believe, even when faith has become rare. It needs you. Because the light doesn't come for you to keep it to yourself. It comes so that you may become the one who lights the way. If you've ever felt alone on the spiritual path, if you've ever wept silently because no one understood the heart inside you that kept expanding, if you've ever wondered, maybe I'm wrong, then know this, you are not alone. You're simply at a soul level few have ever reached. And that is not a burden. It is the sign of a mission. If these words are touching you, please write it down. I'm not running anymore. I will walk forward in the light. Not for me to read, but for you to affirm with your own spirit that you're ready to move on. No more turning back. No more bargaining with destiny. No more living two lives, one for the world and one for yourself. And as you move forward, you'll begin to see so many eyes are watching you. Not to judge, but because they, too, are looking for someone brave enough to go first. So they know they're not crazy, they're not wrong, they're not alone. You, yes you, will become living proof that light still exists in this world. And here's one last thing you must remember. The light within you is not weak. It's just been waiting for you to accept your true role. And when you do, when you live in that light, you will not only save yourself, but open the door for countless other souls to step through. Now that you've chosen, now that you've said yes to destiny, now that you've agreed not to look back, the next gift will begin to appear. Not in the form of money or applause, but in the form of a sacred current, a divine knowing, a clarity so deep you'll no longer be afraid. It is the gift of a soul that no longer searches outward, because it has found the light within. And what comes next is a conversation about that very light, about a higher state, where loss no longer terrifies, where betrayal no longer defines you, where failure is no longer feared, because you've entered the stage where heaven is no longer a distant place, but a state of being you live in every time you choose to be real. Perhaps no one has ever told you this before, but you hold a key. Not the kind made of metal, not something you can tuck into a wallet or wear around your neck, but another kind, an invisible one of immense power. A key that only appears in the hands of those who dared to face darkness and didn't turn back. A key that only comes to those who've passed the soul's quiet test, of light, of choice, of surrender when no one was watching. And if you are still listening to this, then perhaps you are already holding that key without even knowing it. In astrology, when Sagittarius forms a grand trine with Leo and Aries, the three fires united, a rare energetic gate appears, known as the evangelic alignment. It's the moment when belief, will, and action merge to form a pathway, not in the physical world, but in the spiritual structure of the life you are here to live. Sagittarius is the archer, but few realize you only release your arrow when you've already seen the destination. And sometimes that destination isn't a place, but a level of energy, a state of being, a moment when you no longer question anything, and you just know you've stepped into a level of heaven, where you don't need to prove yourself anymore, don't need to argue anymore, you just show up with an open heart. Heaven, dear one, is not up on some cloud. It doesn't wait behind death. It's not only reserved for the worthy. Heaven is a state you enter every time you choose kindness over retaliation. Every time you forgive instead of holding on to anger. Every time you believe in something beautiful, even when you can't see it yet. There is a place waiting for you. Not a place to escape from the world, but a place where you will be rewarded and also entrusted. Because every sacred blessing comes with a responsibility. And you, Sagittarius, are among the rare few chosen for both. It's no coincidence you were born as half human, half divine. That symbol tells us you belong to this world, and yet, not quite. You came to live like a human, But with the vision of a soul who remembers, there's more than meets the eye. You came to remind others they have light too, to guide those who are lost in the darkness of doubt, to plant an arrow of hope in the sky of fear, and to hold the gate of heaven open long enough for someone else to step through. And I know, you might not see yourself that way. You might still feel like just a regular person with unspoken exhaustion, with unpaid bills, with half-healed relationships. But I want you to know, your soul is not ordinary, and the light inside you is not small. What has never happened before is not impossible. It's simply waiting for someone brave enough to go first. And you might be that someone. You may not know you're leading the way, but just by living truthfully in your light, you've already become a lantern for many others. Have you felt it lately? That something is waiting on the other side? A dream that keeps repeating? A sense that you're ready, but don't know how to step forward? An invisible door, sometimes near, sometimes far, and you keep hesitating to walk through it? Let me tell you this. Don't wait until you're certain. Don't wait until it feels safe. Because heaven doesn't always open for those who play it safe. It opens for those who are brave. If these words are making your heart quietly tremble, then please write this down. I'm holding the key, and I'm ready to walk into the light. No one else needs to confirm it, just you and God. One of the deepest lessons I've learned after over 50 years reading the stars for thousands of souls is this. What keeps someone stuck isn't lack of knowledge, but lack of acceptance that they've already been chosen. You don't need more proof. You only need to admit, with humility and deep trust, that you are here at the right time with the exact light needed to keep that gate open. Because the gate of heaven isn't just for you. It's also for those who will follow you. People who don't know you're leading the way, but will be thankful you didn't close the door behind you. And someday, you won't need to try so hard. You won't need to prove anything. You won't need to say too much. You'll just show up, and your presence alone will be the answer for someone searching for heaven through their doubts. Right now, you're standing at the edge of a transformation. And not much longer from now, you'll see clearly what you once thought was only a dream is something your soul has always known. A simple truth, but full of power. Heaven has always been here, just waiting for you to say yes. And when you do step in, you won't walk alone. Someone is waiting for you on the other side. A blessing is waiting to be spoken, and a voice is ready to call your name. Let yourself walk forward. Let your light be seen. Let the key you've carried since a lifetime ago finally unlock the gate of now, because you've held it long enough. It's time to use it. You've stayed with me through to the very end of this journey. Not everyone can do that. Only souls that are mature enough, brave enough, gentle enough with themselves, can open their hearts, listen, and walk in both light and shadow with such wholeness. And if you're still here, that means your soul has been called by name. You didn't find this video by accident. You didn't listen to the very last minute unconsciously. Because something in you, deeper than pain, stronger than doubt, wanted to be awakened. And maybe you've just allowed it to be. I want you to know, I'm proud of you. For not turning back, for not closing your eyes to truth, for not shutting your heart even when the world once broke it. And I believe you are ready for a new chapter. One not based on what others think, but based on what your soul knows. A chapter no longer built on avoiding darkness, but on illuminating it. A chapter where heaven isn't some far-off place, but a presence in every choice you make. If what I've said touches you, please write this as a gentle vow to yourself. I'm ready to live the life my soul chose. And if these words mean something to you, please share this video with someone you believe is waiting for a sign. Because who knows, the light you pass on might be the very light that saves them on a very near day. And finally, leave a like. Or simply write a heartfelt comment, not for me, but for you. As a marker that today you've gone to the very end of something and started something even deeper. I'll see you on the next level, where souls like yours are holding the light for a world still waiting to wake up. Because you are Sagittarius, and you have been seen, you have been chosen, you have been called by name.